Hello, and welcome to this late morning taste challenge. Later morning, I should say, not late morning, but unless you're on the east time zone, it might be. If you live in Europe, it's late. Here's Kessler American blended whiskey, smooth as silk, no bottle without Julius Kessler's picture. There's a Western scene. He was in the Western states and territories shopping his blended whiskey around in the 1870s, getting a little name for himself, and he got his own brand started 1888. He did sell out to Seagram's company, who sold out to, they sold Kessler to Beam, now Beam-Suntory in 1994. There's the back. Kessler. I bought, these used to be glass bottles, but the handle is now plastic. Blended and bottled by Julius Kessler Company, Frankfort and Claremont, Kentucky. Well, Julius Kessler Company, the Beam-Suntory Company, really. Notice it didn't say distilled in Kentucky. It says blended and bottled in Kentucky. So it could be distilled anywhere. It could be a blend of Kentucky whiskey, Indiana whiskey, Missouri whiskey, whatever. But it's blended together and bottled in Kentucky. That's why it's called American blended whiskey, not Kentucky specific. So it's an American whiskey. We know it's made somewhere in America. Okay. The competitor, Old Thompson. I don't have any new Thompson. Old Thompson Premium. Premium. They say it twice. Premium. Premium. Introduced in 1904, American whiskey, a blend. That's two ways you can write it. You can write blended American whiskey or American whiskey, a blend. The whiskeys in this finer tasting American blend, they claim, were produced with extreme care by expertly skilled craftsmen before blending with finest quality neutral spirits. See? They're not playing games. They use extreme care to make the whiskeys and expert craftsmanship to blend with the world's finest quality neutral spirits. I'm not making fun of it because it probably does take a lot of expertise. It doesn't say blended. It said bottled by Glenmore Distilleries, Owensboro, Kentucky, Bardstown, Kentucky. 80% grain neutral spirits, 20% straight whiskey. Now, who is Glenmore? Well, it says right here, we love to hear from our customers. Sazerac.com. Oh, Sazerac. Bardstown, Kentucky is Barton 1792 distillery. And you've probably seen Barton 1792 bourbons, which are pretty above, they're above premium, and they're popular. Now the Barton blended whiskey, I paid $5.99 for it in Frankfort, Kentucky. Very cheap. But the Barton 1792 is the above premium. Very old Barton, VOB. I bought the 80 proof one in Kentucky, and it was nice. And then I bought an 86 proof version in Pascagoula, Mississippi. And I'm sure it will be nice. Those are the premium ones. So they got below premium Barton blended, very old Barton, the premium, and then the Barton 1792, the above premium. Now Glenmore makes their own line, so you may see Glenmore whiskey here, there, and everywhere. They do distill rum there now. They have a brand new distillery. They totally gutted the old one, stripped it down, and rebuilt it. So $7.99 for the liter, $7.99 for the liter, $12.99 for the handle. I bought them both at Total Wine and More. I've never seen them anywhere else, but they might be around. Oh, well, I've seen Kessler at Dornax and Acuista Paces. $12.99 divided by 1,750 times 1,000. $7.42 per liter. So if this was a liter, it'd be $7.42, and they might have liters of this at Elio's Wine Warehouse. Come to think of it, University of New Orleans, and $7.99. So we're talking about 57 cents difference per liter. So we'll just call it even on price, more or less even. And they can fluctuate store to store, you know, but these are basically the same price. Cheap, inexpensive blended whiskey from Beam-Suntory and Sazerac. And there's like 1,000 other cheap, inexpensive blended whiskey brands around. J.K. Julius Kessler, and you probably know that. Some are not cheap. I saw Bastille 1789 blended whiskey from France at Walmart, right there at Walmart, and it was like $23. Bastille French blended whiskey. Is it any good? I really cannot tell you. If you look on the website, they claim it's awesome, you know. But you know how that goes. So Walmart has American blended whiskey, Canadian blended whiskey, French blended whiskey, of course, blended Scotch whiskey, blended Irish whiskey, and I believe that's it. I don't think I've seen anything from Portugal or Spain or any other countries. Appearance. Well, I can see that the Kessler is darker. It's a shade darker. It's more like chestnut brown, and this one is like amber, but they're both dark. Now, the Old Thompson has it has an 80-20 blend ratio, the standard, and the minimum. You go below that, it's a spirit whiskey, which they do sell. And Julius Kessler's 72.5 to 80-20. I can't get it right. 72.5 to 27.5 straight bourbon. So you get a higher percentage of straight bourbon in the Kessler, but it's only aged 2 years. Why is it so dark? Well, they might be aging it in very thick charred oak barrels, like alligator char, they call it, the number 4 char. So it could make it dark like that. And they're allowed to add caramel color for color consistency as well, like they do with Canadian, Irish, and Scottish blended whiskey. The Old Thompson has no age statement. But in that case, it means it's aged at least 4 years. The straight bourbon, or they're not to be straight bourbon, but you know, they almost always are, but they don't have to be. The straight whiskeys in the Old Thompson are aged at least 4 years. So we have a 4-year age versus 2-year age. So advantage to Old Thompson, right? $7.99 for Old Thompson in a liter bottle. $7.42 for Kessler in a liter bottle. Kessler has the advantage there. The grain spirits in here, the grain neutral spirits, which is almost invariably, doesn't have to be, but invariably corn alcohol, ethanol, what they put in the gasoline, that messed up my lawnmower. You can't put that in the lawnmower. I mean, you can, but eventually it'll deteriorate the lawnmower and it won't run right. But I started using the pure gasoline without ethanol in it, and it improves and start running a lot better. It's never going to be straight though, because I went too far, and after all, the lawnmower is 19 years old. But I'll never do that again. From now on, I'll buy a lawnmower, no grain spirits in it, no ethanol. It's going to be pure gas. Costs more, but you're going to save more down the road. For automobiles, doesn't matter. The grain spirits are unaged. They're put straight in a bottle or whatever blending machinery they have and blend it and then bottle it. Grain spirits can be made from corn, rice, oats, wheat, barley. Well, doesn't matter as long as it's grain. That's why it's called grain neutral spirits. And they have to be neutral. And they have to be unaged and stored in oak. But they're not vodka. So when people, like I was ranting them earlier this morning, when people call American blended whiskey brown vodka, they're incorrect. If vodka and grain spirits were the same thing, they would have the same classification according to the U.S. government, but they do not. And if you take time to read, you'll see why. There's a distinct difference. So there you go. Vodka is more expensive to produce. Corn, just corn, like corn from a can, but no salt, of course. And wood. Corn and wood. He said, but that sounds like bourbon to me. Yes, that's what it smells like. You would never think it's Scotch. You wouldn't think it's Canadian whiskey because theirs are kind of peculiar. And you wouldn't think it's Irish. Yeah, same thing, corn and oak. Corn and oak. But they're lighter than bourbon, like in the flavor. So if you find bourbon's too strong and charred oak and you think it's harsh, blended American whiskeys might suit you better. I don't know. You have to check them out. It must suit a lot of people because they sell a lot of it. I see it, well, everywhere. There's not a store in Louisiana that sells liquor that's not going to have grain, that's not going to have blended American whiskey. The most popular, Seagram 7 Crown, without a doubt. The second most popular, Kessler. I don't know where Old Thompson falls in there, but it's in there. In fact, the best-selling whiskey in America of any sort is a blended whiskey. It's called Crown Royal. Best-selling whiskey in the United States, and definitely in Louisiana. All right. Yeah. There is some of that nut oil, like, I don't know, I always think it's like walnut oil or pecan oil. You can buy that at the store, nut oil. It costs a fortune. There's a little oak. There's vanilla here, though, and a creaminess. I don't know. It doesn't taste like Kessler to me. Cheers. Let's go over here. I got to make sure I don't glance because the Kessler is darker. Not way darker, but it is darker. This has a sharper wood flavor. It's like sharper. Or if you want to say it has a worse bite. I didn't really mention nut oil. You know, peanut oil isn't too expensive. I'll say it's very expensive. The ones that's expensive is like almond oil and things like that. Those things would cost you. You're like, ooh, ooh. This one just tastes like wood. Wood and cornbread or something. No, but cornbread's sweeter than this. This isn't really sweet. This is sweet like candy corn. It is oily like the nut oil, almond oil. It can't be almond oil, like peanut oil. It can't be that. I don't know. Walnut oil. Maybe it's pistachio oil. What do I know for nut oils? Well, I'm gonna give it one more taste, but I think I know which one I prefer. And since the price is about the same, if you want a drier product, dry meaning less sweet and crisper, you say whiskey can't be crisp. I know, but I mean, like, this is the one. More wood, none of the oil, a little vanilla, and sort of a harsh bite over there. I think it must be the Old Thompson. When I did the review of that, did I see a lot of video reviews for Old Thompson? Actually, no, I didn't. Kessler, well, there were a handful. I'm gonna have to look that up, see if there's some more new ones. People reviewing that. I'll be curious to see that. I'll look that up today. I'm gonna say this is Kessler and it tastes better, so it's the winner. JK, and I'm not Joe King. Hey, well, it's 3-1, 3-1, 3-1, 3 wins, 1 loss. I can live with that. 75% win ratio, winning percentage. I mean, 3-1 would be the ratio. Okay. Sorry, Old Thompson. You better come out with a new Thompson if you're gonna take on Kessler. But now Kessler didn't win the first 2 contests; it actually lost. But I won the first 2 contests because I was able to tell it apart from the other 2. The third contest was a tie. They tasted equally enjoyable, but I lost that one because I couldn't tell them apart, which was so aggravating. Now here's the 4th contest. I preferred the Kessler, and I was able to tell it from the Old Thompson, so that's a win for me. So for me, it's 3 wins and 1 loss. For Kessler, it's 1 win, 2 losses, and 1 tie. 1 win, 2 losses, and 1 tie. I'll try to keep track, but I'm afraid I'll forget. Now, what's coming up next? 75 South will be Thursday. God willing, we plan to do Thursday. Thursday, 75 South. There are dozens of people across America who love it. Literally dozens of people across this country who love it. Mostly it's sold at the Safeway, Super Value, Albertson stores, Jewel Osco and all of them, but not totally, because I was at some other stores and I saw 75 South. And I know Savannah Discount is not owned by Albertsons. And I know, well, this other store I saw it, I can't remember the store. So, I mean, I know they're independent. So it's around, lurking around in the dark corners of America's cities. All right. Robert Thompson says, cared for an alcoholic dying of heart failure. Oh, you cared for an alcoholic person who was dying of heart failure. I get it now. His drink of choice. I tried it. It was unremarkable. And my associations will always be bottom shelf. Well, it is bottom shelf because I always see it on the bottom shelf if I see it, or in the little disc cases, whatnot. I'm sorry about the man dying of heart failure. I'm sorry he was an alcoholic, or as we say in the more the right-wing philosophical world, psychological world, a problem drinker. There's University of New Orleans. Sorry, he was a problem drinker. But Kessler, beyond that, is better, in my opinion. I would choose it. So which one would I choose? Kessler. Bay Street. Now, I did find out something very interesting yesterday. or the day before. I can't remember. I think it was yesterday. Bay Street Spirits. I didn't know when that hit the market. I know that their distillery's been around since 1943 in Auburndale, Florida. So I said, oh, Bay Street must be something new. It must be one of those Total Wine and More house brands. Well, I was wrong on both counts. It ain't new, and it's not one of their house brands. It's been around for decades because I was looking on liquor.com, and they had a bottle of Bay Street Spirits with the old tax strap around the bottle cap. It was a different label. It said Bay Street Spirits, but it was from Auburndale, Florida, or whatever name they were using for the town, because the town is kind of like near Orlando, so you'll see people use different names for it. And that was owned by Seagram's. That was a Seagram's facility. But when Seagram's went out of business, these private people bought it, Florida Caribbean distillers, and they still make a lot of products there, very popular products. So no, looks like Bay Street has been around for a long time. I just couldn't find a trademark date on it. Oh no. You better watch out. I got to go to Total Wine. Beer price at my local distributor are too costly. Yeah, same here. But I don't know if Total Wine is any kind of bargain, but I got to check on something at Total Wine anyway. I was curious about what their Budweiser price is and their Stella Artois. Listen here, better watch out, Kessler, because Bay Street is in the cabinet. I paid $13.99 at Total Wine for Bay Street Spirits of Florida, from Florida blended whiskey, and it's ready to battle. And it's probably going to win. Now, you don't have too much to fear from doggone 75 South. That's probably going to lose. This is not too good. Oh well, too bad. I can still get that for $5.99 a bottle. True story. You don't have anything to fear from the Heaven Hill blended whiskeys because they're even less good. Those Heaven Hill, Kentucky Bow, T.W. Samuels, Charcoal Perfected, the one called J.W. Dance Charcoal Perfected blended whiskey. They used to make a straight bourbon. They still might, but I don't have it. Ain't none of them gonna beat Kessler. But Bay Street, you better watch out, because you might get embarrassed. Now, what's the one that's going to kill, whip, annihilate, and otherwise defeat Kessler? And I'm confident in it. Well, I will tell you right now, it's going to be called Seagram's Seven Crown. Seagram's Seven Crown, introduced in 1934, will win. It will win. The all-time champ of American blended whiskey, Seagram's Seven Crown, will not lose to Kessler. And that's coming up soon enough. Okay. I'm still looking for that Four Roses blended American whiskey. It may exist. It used to exist, and it may still exist. You won't see it on the website, so don't even look for it because it ain't going to be there. It's like trying to find Evan Williams' green label on their website. Ain't going to happen, but it exists. Well, sorry, old Thompson. Your old hat. All right, so this was good, and if you wait till after lunch today around about 2 o'clock Eastern time, I'm planning to do another taste challenge with beer, and it's going to be Schlitz versus, well, I'm going to leave that as a surprise. I think you might find it quite interesting. All right, thanks everybody.